Hello, welcome to the Self-Learning Podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start discussion on Unit 25 Field Research, and our topic is Types of Case Study. According to Yin and Wilson, there are three types of case studies. The first one is exploratory study. In exploratory case studies, field work and data collection may be undertaken before defining a research question. This type of study may be seen as a prelude to a large social scientific study. The second one is explanatory study. This type of study seeks to explain certain phenomena and is useful when conducting studies, particularly in the complex studies of organizations or communities. The third one is descriptive study. This type of study requires the investigation to present a descriptive theory which establishes the overall framework for the investigator to follow throughout the study. Before beginning research, the investigator must determine exactly what the unit of analysis in the study will be. What distinguishes case studies from more general ethnographic reportage is the detail and particularity of the account. Each case study is a description of specific configuration events in which a particular set of actors have been involved in some defined situations at a particular point of time. In setting out a case study, the analyst must decide in advance at what point to enter the ongoing flow of events and at what point to withdraw from it. It should emphasize on the theoretical connection between the events rather than on the events themselves. Any technique can be used for the collection of data, and it is preferable to operate with social fields. Since data beyond what is strictly germane to this purpose are redundant, while on his notion of social field, let us also mention Gluckman's concept of extended case method, which Van Wilson calls situational analysis. The extended case method refers to the researcher's collection of detailed material of a particular sort. It also entails the specific use to which such field material is put, while the ethnographer analyzes the same. Mostly sociologists and anthropologists have used extended case method or situational analysis to discuss conflict as a normal aspect of social change. Although I am of the opinion that the field worker's theoretical approach is of primary importance with regard to the type of material he seeks, and although I think that the field work methods can be prescribed only in general terms, I have made some suggestions regarding the collection of type of material that is most likely to satisfy the demands of some of the present theories. These demands are of synchronic analysis of general structural principles that is closely interwoven with a diachronic analysis of the operation of these principles by specific actors in specified situations. Case study method is not a new style of data gathering and analytic technique. The fields of medicine and psychology, for example, by their very nature require physicians and psychologists to examine patients case by case. Case studies are commonly used in business and law curricula to help students bridge the gap between the foundational studies and practice. The use of diaries and biographies, a popular method used by some feminists and other social scientists, approximate the case study method. The Professional Thief by Edward Sutherland, The Jack Rollers by Clifford R. Shaw, and Being Different, the autobiography of the Jane Frey by Bogdan, are some examples of classic case studies. Now let us move to the next point, life histories. Life history approach to social research and theory subsumes several methodological techniques and types of data. These include case studies, interviews, and use of documents including letters, diaries, archivals, records, oral histories, and various kinds of narratives. It was used extensively in 1920s and 1930s and was identified with the Chicago School. But later an increased use of quantitative techniques coupled with survey data collection led to a relative decrease in the life history approach. In the 1970s, however, there began a resurgence of interest in life history research, not only in the USA but also in Europe. The main assumptions of this approach are that the actions of the individual and the groups are simultaneously emergent and structured, and that the individual and group perspectives must be used for analysis. Thus, any materials that served those perspectives can and should be regarded as essential to the empirical study of social life. The first such study was Thomas and Ginaki, the Polish peasant in Europe and America. In this 5-volume, 2200-page book, they presented almost 800 pages of life history data in support of their conclusions and generalization. Those data included newspaper articles, letters to family members, records from courts and social work agencies, and a 300-page biography of one person as a representative case. This approach was used in research on race relations, delinquency, mass media, migration, occupation, and other issues centered primarily in the fields of ethnic and urban studies. Current uses of life history research display considerable variation as well as more precise conceptual distinctions. Terms such as life story, bibliography, discourse, history or oral history, personal experience narratives, collective narratives, and sagas are now distinguished from one another, and frameworks for linking types of verbal accounts to types of generalization have been developed. It is now common to regard life histories as a legitimate form of data. Through the propositions contained in narrative theory, some researchers have developed what is called the narrative interview. This approach focuses on the establishing event sequences across the life course on the basis of interview data. Bartum has long been an advocate of the life history approach. The collaborative research on social movement used life history data from the members of students' movement in the USA, England, Ireland, Italy, West Germany, and France. He shows the application of this method in large-scale comparative research projects. Dolby Setahi, a folklorist, has developed a variation of the life history approach she calls literary folklorist, which focuses on personal narrative data. He uses the reader response theory to develop an interpretative method for studying the interdependence of personal narratives and collective narratives like ethnic group folklore. The assumption of this approach is that the personal and collective narratives are inherently connected, and thus a personal story has a collective dimension. Interpretative biography is designed to study the turning points or problematic situations people find themselves in during transition periods. The basic question he asks concerns how people live and give meaning to their lives and capture those meanings in written narratives and oral forms. In the Indian context, Dalit sociology is making use of the life histories of the selected untouchables. The scheduled caste have constructed through writings of untouchables, be it poem, short story, biography, or autobiography, lives that have the essential element of social and economic liberation. The life history of Muli, a Dalit written by the Freeman, provides an insight into the nature of caste oppression in Indian society. According to the author, many incidents in his life show striking similarities with events in other cultures, and his case stands as an indictment of stratified systems like caste and others. Now let us wind up the session and take rest. Thank you very much for engaging yourself with the Self-Learning podcast.